All right. We are live. This is Jeff Catherman coming to you live from the TCO Training Haus facility here in Waconia, the Strength and Conditioning, the Performance Therapy Center. We've got some great guests here tonight. We're doing a little bit of a different show where we're diving into some of the resources we're going to be offering to the kids, parents, etc. This year. This theme of this podcast, we're talking about strength training, and I'm joined by Matt Montplaisir. Did I say that right? I'm sorry. Montplaisir. Z. The S comes out as Z, and we got Wyatt Scheu.
Yep.
And so we're going to talk with Matthew and Wyatt tonight just about the opportunities we have here in Waconia from a strength training perspective. And it's we have kind of an embarrassment of riches, it feels. And so, why don't you guys just first introduce yourselves, and then we'll get into some questions.
My name's Matthew. Grew up in Buffalo, Minnesota. Played baseball starting at a young age. I started t-ball when I was 3, I believe. I played that for 11 years till 8th grade. Played football, basketball, and track and field in high school. Played football and track in college at Gustavus. So playing 2-sport athlete in college was a lot of fun. Then I went to get my master's at the University of Minnesota in sport and exercise science. While I was there, I interned with Cal Dietz, who was the strength coach for the men's and women's hockey team. While I was there, one of our interns was interning for Training Haus, and he kind of linked me up to there. And I got started with Training Haus from there. And so I've been with Training Haus the last 2 years and working with a lot of associations here in town and
awesome.
In middle school. And just love what we do here.
Perfect.
And again, my name is Wyatt Scheu. I grew up in Prior Lake, Minnesota. My 2 sports that I really focused in on were track and taekwondo, actually. So one that's a little more unconventional. And taekwondo was really the main sport that I focused on. And actually, even when it came to like college, I didn't even know if I was going. I knew I had an opportunity to do something special with taekwondo. I had a coach out in Colorado that I would go and stay with in the summer. So ended up actually getting a pretty nice concussion my senior year. So at that point, you start to have the conversation of what do you start to do? Do you just start taking care of yourself? And so kind of pivoted away. I still loved track and thought I still had an opportunity to do something there, and ended up training with a guy in Eden Prairie named Blake. And even like the training was great. I loved it, but I just saw how much I enjoyed the relationship. Yep. And I just saw how much he really seemed to enjoy what he did and how much time and effort he put into like the little things that he was doing. And, it didn't feel like I was just some kid. I was Wyatt to him. He's like, what does Wyatt need? What does he need to be successful? And really, that relationship stuck with me. And when I went off to college and I was kind of bouncing between what I wanted to do, I remember just really coming back and thinking about that relationship. And I'm like, man, that'd be really cool to do that for someone else as well. So that's how I ended up switching into kinesiology and really wanted to get into something like this. And then I worked at Eden Prairie actually with Blake, with him for about 5 years. Then worked at Starters, which is a baseball performance group. Yep. They were in Shakopee at the time, worked there for a little while. And then ended up working kind of on my own, just working with track athletes for a little bit, and then got in touch with Training Haus. And then about the same time as Matt, we started around the same time working here for the last 2 years.
About 2 years.
Yeah.
What events did you do in track?
I was a sprinter. So my main event, if I'm going to be one of those guys, was the 200.
Yep.
So it was mostly 2-4, but did all 1-2-4, all of them.
Got it. Very cool. And where did you grow up?
Prior Lake.
Prior Lake. That's right. Okay, cool. Yeah. Prior Lake's got a pretty big track program as well.
Yeah. No, they've been doing a good job with numbers with sports, especially. Yeah. So yeah.
As Waconia has grown in population, it's now in the I think it's in the highest class in the state. So we're running up against the Shakopees, Eden Prairies, Prior Lakes of the world. So
a lot of sports are playing at the highest level.
Yeah, which is cool. It's tough.
Same with wrestling.
Yeah, but it's fun. It's fun to be able to say that you're a part of really a premier competition.
Yep.
So
can you guys tell the audience a little bit about all of the different activities that and all the sports programs that TCO Training Haus is involved with in Waconia?
Yeah, I mean, I think the big thing, and this is to please our bosses, is we work with everybody. So we have, we write programs for every athlete, really across the board for what they need as far as partnerships or even what we kind of has been specializing in. We're partnered with Waconia, the Youth Hockey Association. We're partnered with the Youth Basketball Association. So those are two really big ones. We even have, actually just this year, we gotten to have more of an opportunity working with varsity hockey teams, with high school hockey teams. So we have Chan Chaska's team in here, Waconia's team, they were just in earlier tonight. And then we're going to have an opportunity to work with Delano as well. So hockey's a big one. Basketball's been big. And then obviously we're both track guys. So we're going to always end up finding a way to get some more track athletes in here. So I'm missing anything?
Yeah, now we're starting up the wrestling program.
Yep.
So kind of building that into what we do as well, just kind of trying to work with as many athletes as we can in Waconia and make a difference.
For sure.
And the high school program, what many people don't know is we have the strength. If you're going out for the strength training program in the high school or off season, that's through TCO Training Haus.
Yeah. So we have Josh Anderson, who's the strength coach at Waconia, and he's been there before Training Haus has been out here. But so he is the strength coach at the high school. He's been there for a while, but he is under the Training Haus umbrella as well. He's actually our lead. So kind of our point person if we have questions and all that. So we work really close with Josh and we make sure that we have a connection and, there's some level of continuity with what we're doing from there to here.
And Josh, we wanted to have Josh here tonight, but Josh had some urgent things come up. So we're hoping to do a part 2 with Mr. Josh Anderson later this year. So stay tuned for that. But it's the scale and the depth and the breadth of TCO Training Haus is pretty vast here in Waconia. We're obviously pretty lucky. Can you guys talk a little bit about what many among the purposes of this podcast and is to a little bit advertise about our strength training program that we have formed with Waconia Youth Wrestling now and the high school. But talk a little bit about just in general, what are some of the benefits and the importance of kids at a youth level getting involved in a formal strength training program? Yeah,
I think the most important thing when you think about youth athletes and training is learning how to use their body.
Yeah.
Right. A lot of athletes are experiencing a massive growth spurt, and oftentimes you'll see athletes get kind of clumsy, you kind of lose their balance, and just figure out how to move their body. We good?
Yeah. A second. I'm not. There you go. That's much better.
Check. We good?
Yeah. I'm playing obviously the many roles that I play with the audio production guy. So I wanted to make sure I can hear everybody. So Matthew, continue. Sorry about that.
Yeah. So I think youth athletes learning how to move, use their body through a lot of different movements, I think is super crucial. I know from a young age, the learning how to move, that's the best opportunity for athletes to learn how to move, use their body. If they learn how to move well at a young age and enjoy it, they're most likely going to move really well as they become adults and enjoy doing it.
Yep.
Right. So I think that's one of the most important things as far as like performance enhancing, right? If we learn how to move our body, get a little bit stronger, a lot of those neural adaptations that you're going to see when you're a younger kid are going to help you move better and just be a better athlete from that standpoint. I think learning how to move is the biggest thing. Learning how to compete, and then one thing too that's really overlooked too is reaction time.
Yeah,
there's I'd say between like ages 8 to 11, that's kind of your prime time to build reaction time. I was listening to a podcast probably 2 weeks ago, and 90% of our reaction time capabilities are developed before age 12, right, or around there. It's obviously dependent on your genetics a little bit, right? But if you miss that window, you're only going to get so much better at reaction time, right? But if you train that at a young age, that's something we can build really heavily during that age. So that's something I really like to focus on with our younger athletes, is just competing and trying to react off someone's movement and try to move well with them.
And that's one thing too that, I mean, you'll hear it all the time, is especially when kids are growing and developing, if they're doing strength training, a big piece, a lot of the gains that you're seeing as they're getting stronger is just them learning the movements, learning their body and what they're doing. It's not necessarily muscle growth from the lifting itself, right? That's just as you grow, as you get older, you just start to put on a little bit more weight. Hopefully some kids, I know, they're eating their hearts out and they still can't get bigger. I was one of those guys that was just tall and scrawny. But I mean, a big part is just learning how to move, how to do it right. And you just can see a lot of benefit just from, focusing on the quality as
Yeah.
opposed to just moving weight to move weight.
No, so true. And wrestling is one of those unique sports, especially where I, from being a sports fan for many, many years of all different sports, it's just one of the most difficult sports I've ever been a part of, in that
Mhm.
you're trying to control your own, fitness level, your own cardio, etc. You're moving your own body,
Mm-hmm.
and then you're trying to move your opponent's body.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
as the weight classes ascend, you become, a high school level kid, even up to 200 pounds or 285. I mean, it's so hard there's so many moving parts.
Yeah.
And so strength and movement, like you said, reaction, it's one of those things that those that are doing it are developing that edge. Do
Yeah.
you guys agree?
Yeah, absolutely. And I think what's tough, again, like you were saying, well, there's so much going on, there's so many moving parts, and you have to be so familiar with moving in so many angles, and you can't have a vulnerable spot. You know what I
Right.
mean? You can't let a guy, if he gets you to point A, it's over for you, right? So you have to be capable and sturdy and strong all the way through the entire range of motion. And that's where, even on our side, like, wrestling is a fun challenge to work with, right? Because it's not you just have to push a guy in a straight line. It's not you just have to jump higher than everybody else. It's you have to be strong everywhere, anywhere, at any time. But I mean, that's the beauty of the sport. Again, I look at wrestling as a combat sport, and again, so
Right.
having done Taekwondo, I see that there's a link there. It's you and one other person. It's trying to see not only who's more capable, but who can almost outsmart the other person, who
Yeah.
can react faster. So, just all the things that come with that one-on-one, all gloves off. Let's see who can
Right.
win this. It creates an interesting challenge, but that's what makes it fun.
Totally agree. What are and we're going to talk a little bit about the program here that we have formed now with for the first time this year, our youth program is forming a more strategic partnership with TCO Training Haus, and we'll talk a little bit about the dates, the times, the cost, etc. But what are some examples of exercises and that this training program, you do it through hockey, you guys do it for basketball. What are some of the movements that are just core and fundamental that the kids will learn through this program?
Yeah, I think so far we've been working with them for 2 weeks and kind of been keeping it very generic, as we're working with mostly 4th and 5th graders. So just learning how to move, right? I think a big thing that we've done is working on sled pushes, because that's going to develop that strength to drive an athlete back and just have the leg strength, the base. But really just learning how to accelerate, learning how to decel, learning how to move, kind of building those fundamentals. I think it was really important at a young age, and obviously we'll progress that as we get closer to the season. But right now, we're just building that general capacity to be a good athlete, to move in a lot of different ways. Because the athletes we have in here right now are playing football, they're playing baseball, they're playing other sports.
Yeah.
Right. So kind of building that whole athlete, because that's not only going to benefit them this year with wrestling, but also just all the sports that they play in general.
Yeah.
And then on the strength side, kind of building grip strength, because that's a very important thing as you're grappling, and be able to position your body.
That's great.
Move that around. So working on farmers carries, catching things with an open hand, because oftentimes we're wrestling in that position. And just trying to be specific there. But in general, just building, total body strength and learning how to move.
Yeah. Awesome. And I think it's one of those things, again, we'll always go over those core basics. Like, we're going to go over how to squat right. Yeah. I think that's something that, regardless, it's a great movement. Regardless of what level you're at, someone's going to ask you to squat. If you were a college wrestler, you're going to have to find a way to squat. And then just once they have that basis down, it's okay, how deep can we get you? Because again, that's coming back to the whole, you can't have a vulnerable position. It can't be if you're down real tight. It's a hard position to be strong in. If you're squatting all the way to the ground, your body's not meant to be super strong at that position. So we get into those deep joint angles. That's the nice thing with kind of the sled pushes, is you can really kind of lean into something. It's the same thing as if you're pushing against another person, you're really down deep. You can take the big, powerful steps. So yeah, we always try to tie it back to movements that these kids are going to experience.
Awesome. How many athletes across all the programs you guys are working with are you guys working with this, at least this location?
Yeah, I mean, it's been vast. It's been a lot of fun building that out. I'd say minimum we're looking at, like, I'd probably say 500.
Yeah.
So we work with the Basketball Association, we work with the Hockey Association, and those associations combined are over 400.
Yeah.
This summer we worked with 160 athletes, which are in combination with some of those with those associations at the middle school. with the summer program there. And then just working with surrounding athletes in this community, other communities coming back from college. It's got to be over 500, which is kind of crazy. A lot of names to remember.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's a lot of fun.
Yeah. No, I mean, and that's kind of cool, especially with how sports really just intrinsically works is there's different sports seasons. So you just kind of see athletes come and go. And so that's where it's always hard to be like, how many are we working with right now? Because next week it might be wildly different. And, you'll get the down weeks of Christmas and you start wondering where everyone went. But yeah, no, it's been really fun to see how kind of kids cycle and come and go. And, but yeah, I mean, we've been able to really make a connection with a lot of people, especially in this community, which has really welcomed us in open arms, so it's really been a blast to see how many kids we can get to know. And I mean, even going to the county fair, we're walking around and the amount of kids that come up and say something to us it's something, but
awesome.
It's really, really great to just see how many people, at this point, you kind of forget how many you've seen and how many you met, how many you worked with, but it's been really, really cool. And that's in the span of 2 years.
Yeah.
So
do you guys live here in the community or close by?
I currently live in Glencoe, bought a house out there in January, but I lived at right behind McDonald's in an apartment before that.
Got it.
Yeah. And then I live over in Hopkins right now.
Got it. Yeah, it's the county fair is definitely a thing here. It's I think I didn't grow up going to county fairs, but I've gone to a few. My wife's from about 100 miles west of here in Renville County, very rural. And it's one of the best county fairs in the state, I think. I prefer going to it than the state fair.
Really?
To be honest. So.
I like the balance. I like going to the state fair. I'm a state fair guy, so hopefully people aren't getting mad at me right now. But I do. It was one of those things. I mean, I remember when I first started here because I started in August, so it was right before the county fair. So I remember coming out and people at work were like, "You need to go." And I remember thinking, "I'm like, why?" I mean, what's the point? And then so actually I didn't even get to go this last year even. So this year was the first year that I actually went. I was like, all right, fine. Yeah, it's kind of cool. It's kind of nice. And again, obviously seeing how many people we knew, it was a great experience. So yeah.
For sure. So another future podcast, county fairs.
Yeah, county fairs. Yep. We'll touch base. We'll rank them.
What are some of the success stories that you guys have seen? And you don't have to get specific to names and other things like that, but just in general that you've seen and just anecdotes come through TCO Training Haus.
Yeah, I think the nice thing and kind of a beautiful thing is success and growth, can be seen in a lot of different ways.
Right.
We were kind of talking about it before this, but we had a great example is we had an athlete who really kind of had odds stacked against her in a sense, just didn't always have the best experience growing up. Didn't really have a whole lot of opportunities to really train or do anything, but she had a sport that she really, really loved in soccer. And even her mom reached out, and I remember even to this day, the conversation, it was a year and a half ago that we would have talked. And her mom, I remember in the phone call, warned me, she's like, she's going to be incredibly nervous. She's never done anything like this. She's terrified to even try this.
Yep.
I'm kind of twisting her arm just to get her to go the first time. And I could tell so we eased into it. We just made sure that the first and foremost, what always has to come first is people have to be comfortable with doing this. And again, like that's when we're working with youth athletes. We want you to be in this facility and feel like you're comfortable doing this. You're comfortable working out. You have to have a positive relationship with your trainer and the exercises you're doing. And so we eased into it with her and just focused on that relationship piece. And, it's at the point now that she's graduated. She's off actually playing soccer in college. And she told me kind of down the road, that at the time that she started with us, she's like, I thought I was going to have to give up the sport that I loved. I thought I was going to have to go to college and focus on school, which she was comfortable doing. But there was a genuine fear that she was going to have to give up the one thing that she was like, this keeps me sane, this keeps me going. And so just being here and again, like I would argue that we made leaps and bounds with her as far as strength and movement and all that. But I think the biggest thing is just how much she grew to kind of just love this experience. And we try to be, athlete first in the sense of like all success they have is theirs. It's not ours. But to know, just to have a positive impact and to have someone that at this point still keeps in touch with us and still is like, thank you for everything. That's one of those things that's really, really beautiful to see how this can make an impact again with more than just the sport, but just helping people feel that they're confident and they can believe in themselves because they have two people that absolutely, we will always believe in everybody that comes in and works with us. But
Matthew?
I think, working with middle school athletes, they're going to get better. Like really doing anything. I tell the kids all the time, like, I can give you the worst program to do. If you work hard, you're going to do better.
Yeah.
Right? And especially at that age, it's true. Like if they are just doing something and they're moving, they're probably going to get better at it.
Mhm.
Right. But it's really cool to see that mental side. I've seen athletes that didn't believe, even just jumping on like a 27-inch box. It's like, I know they physically can. Half the time they just won't, because they just like have this mental block, and watching those mental blocks dissipate, right? And training is cool, right? But I know that when they step on a court or on a field, that's going to go away as well in their sport. That mentality. I had an athlete that was walking out. It was actually her older sister, and then her family was there, and they were referring to the athlete. And they were saying, like, she used to be an athlete that didn't like to go to training. She used to be the one that would tell her friends, like, hey, don't go. I'm not going to go. And now she's like, I love training. I want to do it. And she's like, she's advocating for her friends to sign up. So just like kind of seeing that switch, and we're talking about middle school. It's like learning to love training and just get better and enjoy that process. I think is one of the coolest things as a coach to see.
Yeah.
Right.
Because at the end of the day, if we provide good training, like, they're going to get better. But if they want to do it, it's just going to make it so much better.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. There's few things better as a coach when you are, you see somebody falling in love with training and understanding that, the results, we don't know when the results will come. They sometimes come at different parts of the process, but continuing to buy in that training and that concept that training is fun, and that I know it's going to pay off and it's good for me, and thousands of use cases of how that's going to translate in life, which is, I mean, we love sports, but why are we doing sports? Hopefully for life, character building and lessons.
And that's the goal, I think, for all coaches, and I mean ourselves included, is you want to be able to give them the tools or create habits that go beyond you. Because again, at the end of the day, whether you're a youth association coach, if you're a strength conditioning coach, if you're a varsity coach, if you're a college coach, I mean, at some point, the hope is that the kid kind of graduates from you and your phase in their life, and you hope that you've given them the tools and the knowledge that they need to succeed then at that next level. So again, for Matt, working with the middle school kids, at a certain point they're moving on. If they're doing stuff at the high school, they're working with Josh, and for them to then be able to go into that day one eager and ready and excited to be back in a weight room, that makes Josh's life a whole lot easier, right? But then the kids are able to be committed to the things that are going to help them improve the most. And it's great if it's you that's helping them, but it's more important that they just love what they're doing. They love the time and the effort that goes into sports, and that it supersedes you at that point.
100%. Awesome. So hopefully parents, and kids, we hope we can get more going on the strength training part of it. Let's talk a little bit about, I'm going to pull up on the live stream here. We've got, as I mentioned, our preseason program going on right now, and then the sign-up period for the in-season training is also still available. Matthew or Wyatt, you want to talk a little bit about the dates and times, and then we could talk a little bit about how people sign up, maybe a little bit of the cost and that kind of stuff.
For sure. We already started preseason. We're only 4 sessions in out of the 20. So if you still want to get involved, absolutely, we're welcome to that. We had 2 athletes that just joined us literally on Wednesday. And so we'd love to continue to grow that group. I know a lot of athletes are playing football, playing fall sports, right? If they want to join, we're more than welcome to it. But as we look towards the in-season stuff, we're looking at Mondays from 7 to 8, going to be here training consistently. And that'll go through, I think there's 2 different phases. I think it's like late November through the end of January.
Yep.
If you're looking at your screen, and then end of January, early February through, I believe, like middle March.
Yep.
But
End of March.
Just covering the span of your season.
Yep.
You can sign up for the preseason. You can sign up for everything. You can sign up for in season 1, in season 2. Really any options there. And if there's any families that have, I'd say kind of more in that like 5th to 6th grade range, if there's any athletes that want to do more than just that one day a week, we also offer junior development sessions, which is going to work on that speed, work on that strength. Those groups aren't as specific to wrestling, but just, again, working on being an athlete. If you want to do more, those are available as well. But all these groups are going to be just wrestling athletes working together, trying to get better, trying to get stronger, and trying to build that culture of, hey, we train here in Waconia, we get after it, and we have fun doing it.
Yeah. And 3rd through 6th grade, we've kind of targeted we think that was probably the sweet spot of kids that are getting more serious about it, want to get to that next level, whether they're, a beginner kind of wanting to get more experienced, or they've been out for a few years, maybe in that intermediate category, trying to really, join the advanced, get ready for the advanced group, do more tournaments. things like that. Or if you're an advanced kid and you want to become a state champion this year, and you know that you're trying to find every edge possible to get to that. That's what there's levels for everything, right?
Yep.
And we're blessed with having you guys, two passionate guys, to help our kids, and we're really looking forward to this partnership. And we also have signed up TCO Training Haus to be a live stream event partner for, I don't know if you guys are aware, but that's a deal Josh
Nice.
secured with the marketing group. I help with this with live streaming a lot of our events, and we have high school duels, high school invites, and youth duels, and so two of those will be sponsored by TCO Training Haus.
Nice.
That's wonderful.
So it's 1 + 1 = 3, right?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, absolutely. No, and that's, again, like, that's always the goal with all this stuff is, we want to make sure that we're a part of everything that y'all have going on. Again, it's not, it's a business, but at the end of the day, we just want to make sure that there's a genuine partnership, and we're just trying to help you all be the best that you can be. And obviously y'all coming in helps us be the best that we can be. It's just meant to be a fun, genuine partnership and cooperation. And that's been super fun with all these associations, is just seeing how much it just feels like we kind of grow together.
Yep.
So no, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's exciting with basketball, especially last year. That's been one of my passions, and we got to work with them in here. But I think one of the coolest things for me was to work with them here and then go watch them on the weekends and be like, okay, how's what we're doing translating? Where can we grow? Where can we get better?
Right.
And that's something that you'll definitely expect to see me at some meets, some duels, especially if they're around here. I'll be there. So
awesome.
For sure.
We'll have to get you guys the schedule as well for the high school schedule.
Absolutely.
To get on your calendars first, we got December 7th is going to be the first try at the high school level with Benilde St. Margaret's and Watertown Mayor. And then I'm not quite sure if for our youth side, we'll be at Apple Valley in mid-November.
Facing the big dogs right away.
Yes. The youth team, not to surpass or build on. We have quite a bit of experience coming back. We had a top 4 team. We were 4th in the state last year, both Min USA and NYW. We have a lot of 6th graders coming back, a lot of 5th graders, and so we're cautiously optimistic the kids will continue to get to grow, and we'll see what happens. But
yeah, very cool.
Yeah, so I've got it on the stream now. Go to the website. We'll send out another email blast as well this week, reminding people about signing up for this. In addition to signing up for this, don't forget to sign up for the season as well. Just we only have we're a little bit of a slow start, but I think this fall's been so nice weather-wise, and I think people are really just in the fall mode, and we're not thinking yet ahead to winter. And so but people do respond to financial incentives, and prices do go up for the regular season for wrestling on October 2nd. So get registered. Also coming up on Monday, you guys will be there. We are having our annual free youth wrestling clinic at Waconia High School, September 25th, this Monday at 7 p.m. Both Matthew and Wyatt will be there as well, handing out flyers, talking a little bit more about the program, so you guys can meet both of these guys in person. But spread the word about the upcoming clinic. It's our main recruiting tool. Don't tell the other sports, but to try wrestling, it's pretty easy to. Well, I mean, try hockey. I know hockey has the rookie camp that they do, and basketball, they don't really need a camp because lots of kids can find a hoop. But
that's fair.
But this is one of our secrets where we get a lot of brand new kids, especially the youngest age groups, to come out and check us out and see what wrestling's all about. So yeah,
I love it.
We're at just around 30 minutes. We're gonna wrap her up, but Matthew and Wyatt, any last comments for you guys?
No, I mean, I think again, a lot of stuff that we touched on. It's all comes down to we're really excited for any opportunity. With this association to work with more. Different cities, different schools. By all means, that's always been a very fun part of this experience. But again, Waconia is really accepted Matt and I with open arms. And so anytime we get more opportunities to work with Waconia athletes and really try to kind of leave a positive stamp and a positive influence on especially kind of that younger generation coming up through, it means the world to us. I think that's where we find just the most reward from this. I mean, again, we've seen it with hockey, we've seen it with basketball. It just is great to see how much the kids can kind of grow and being able to say like, hey, I remember when you wouldn't listen to a thing I said because you were counting butterflies halfway through a session. But any opportunity to work with more Waconia athletes, really, it goes a long way, and it really is a driving force for the things that we try to do here.
Perfect.
Couldn't have said better myself. Excited for this opportunity to just continue working with more youth athletes. It's a lot of fun for both of us, and it's something I personally really enjoy, just helping athletes grow and enjoy the process.
Awesome. Well, thanks, guys, so much for joining our podcast here. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in. Check these guys out on Monday at the clinic. And again, appreciate it, guys. Thank you.
Thank you.